that the work will be done suddenly. The work is an active work that requires you consciously and intentionally putting brick over another. And after all this, you sit down to review constantly, whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal. Review it. Because the more you review your work, the more you realize what loopholes exist there. What part is weakened that needs to be strengthened? What structures need to be pulled down, reenacted? Where do you need to? Because one of the frameworks you must build in yourself is flexibility of time you spend in weeding out actions. Because this is what keeps you rooted, even in the face of trends and virality. Keeps you rooted and focused and guided in the vision, execution, connections, understanding the people you need in achieving the goal that you've envisioned and has been placed in your heart, and the product services that you want to innovate or create, right? It strengthens it. Your currency, understanding your time, the people, the capital, the resources, and how to mobilize them in achieving the vision. And we've spoken about resilience, adaptability, being able to weather the storms by understanding what each season is for, and building a framework internally that can withstand and outmatch it. So it's really, really very, very important for all of us to pay attention to these information. Quite a number of things to say, but really, I just want to say this. And it's easier to be a user than to be a producer. It's easier to be a consumer and a beneficiary than to be a creator. But the dividends that comes with creating and producing far outweighs that which is for a consumer and a user. And it's work, but this kind of work rewards. So I just want to use this medium to encourage you. Finish what you start. You started it, you were excited when you got the dream, you were excited when you got the vision, you were excited. Beyond excitement, dive into the work. And don't just dive into the work, see it through to the end. Build for legacy, build for prosperity. Because every time we see you, you're a reflection of what you started and you didn't finish, or what you started and you finished, right? And I hope this information stirs you up to do so many amazing things. Thank you so much for having me today, Jumoke. I love you and you know it. So thank you so much. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Margaret. That was heartfelt. That was insightful. That was full of wisdom. That was a rich session. Thank you for speaking to that topic. Wow, I know how passionate you are about seeing women step into their full potential, seeing women rise above limitations, seeing women getting results. And you did speak to that topic. Thank you for sharing that unique perspective about the will to win beyond ambition, strategies, building systems. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for sharing that. That was so insightful. Hey, I want to see us buzzing in the comments about how much that session has impacted us. And we're going right into the next session right now. And I would be doing a proper introduction of Oluwatomiwa Oladimeji. She's known as the Global HR. She's a certified HR professional, global HR strategist, and career strategist. She currently serves as country HR executive at Field Based Services Limited, a leading maritime, oil, gas, and connectivity company, where she globally oversees organizational strategy, HR initiatives, talent management, and people operational excellence across all its branches in 6 countries. Tomiwa is also the co-founder of Hire Now, an innovative HR tech company bridging the gap between businesses and a diverse workforce, including allied professionals and underserved service providers. Beyond this, she runs Global HR Consult, supporting organizations in building scalable, high-performance people systems, and is building the HR Trailblazer community, a platform for HR professionals to share knowledge, grow together, and drive meaningful change. Her flagship project, the Career Mapping Program, helps professionals align their skills, passions, and goals with the right career paths. She was selected as a UN Women UK delegate at CSW 68, where she partnered with global and local organizations to advance gender equality and create tangible pathways to for workforce inclusion. Tomiwa holds a BA in History and International Relations from University of Ilorin and is currently pursuing an MBA at Rome Business School. With a certification from CIPM and RMCI UK, these credentials underpin our expertise in leveraging people, processes, and technology to optimize HR solutions. Tomiwa is committed to fostering high-performance workplaces that prioritizes both employee experience and business growth, ensuring organizations remain agile and competitive in a rapidly evolving world. So I want to see us with our excitement in the comment section. Tomiwa Oladimeji will be sharing with us Start Smart. She'll be sharing practical HR essentials that you need for building people, processes, and culture from day one. Thank you so much, Tomiwa, for honoring our invitation. I am here seated, ready to learn and to glean from your wisdom. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's so good to be here today. Just a minute. Yeah, so good to be here today. I'd like to know if everyone can see my screen. Just let me know when you can see my screen. All right. So good evening, everyone. My name is Tamiwa Oladimiji as seen on the screen, and we're talking about three core pillars in businesses these days. But before I go further, I'd like to thank the convener of this initiative for inviting me and the good work that this initiative is actually, going to bring in. So yeah, regarding today's short business insight. So I call it a short business insight. When it comes to business, people think it's all about having the money, and when you have the money, everything can fall in place. Or you can have the money and everything fall apart. You can have the money and everything become even more chaotic. So we're talking about, I'm an HR professional, and from my perspective, we're talking about the people, process, and the culture pillars that you need for a successful business. The people, process, and culture pillars that are needed for a successful business. So, to start with, every successful business rests on these pillars: the people you hire, the process you put in place, and the culture you nurture. So when it comes to your business, right, business on its own does not become successful. No business on its own scale. It's scaling, or a business is doing well because you have the right people. And that's because you hire the right people in the first place. And now you can hire the right people, and the way things are being done is wrong. That does not mean that you're still going to achieve results. That's how I see it. Now, you can have the right people, put systems in place, but you have a culture that does not allow the right people put their skills and competencies to practice, of which be of good use to the business. So, the three pillars is that you have to hire good people. The people you hire, you have to put in processes that will stand the test of time. Processes that are beyond you. Put in systems that are actually beyond you. That's very important for any business owner today. I know the business is your idea. I know the business is your baby, is your brainchild. Excellence. But if you want to have a stellar business, if you want to have a fortune company, then your business must outgrow you. It must be about the system and not you. If you are absent for a day or two and everything in your company or business fall apart, then it means something is wrong. In fact, very wrong. So today we will explore how to build these pillars. Now, this is why it is important. It's important because 65% of startup failures is tied back to people related issues. Either you hire the wrong people, or you have bad leadership, or your business lacks structure, or the culture forms within the first 10 hire and is hard to change later. So when you start a business, and I'm saying this to anyone that is about to hire their first 3 to 4 staff, when you're about to start a business and you hire you have your first 10 hires, whatever it is that you start with, those are like your should I say, these are the firstborn. Yes, let me put it. Those are like the first fruits, or the first children, or the firstborn of your business. And if you do not train them well, you are supposed to train these people, Let them help you to flourish the right culture, such that when people come in, right, when people come in, it's easy for you to train them to train them. So here's what I mean by train them to train them. You're training your first set of employees so that they can also train these employees that will come in later on. And after a while, this first set of employees that you train are to become the business leaders, are to become your company leaders, and they are to, drive the direction of your company. So what then happens if you do not form the right culture within these people? What then happens if you do not if you have the right people, or they do not understand or have the actual business mindset for you? So now, here's the thing. Like I said, 3 essentials: your process, your people, and your culture. And now, if you look at the slide, there's a pillar there, and we have 4 pillars under the. So there's a graph, like a graphics here, right here, and it looks like there are 4 pillars. And the reason why there are 4 pillars is, apart from your process, your people, and your culture, there's you. Because sometimes everything might be going well except the founder. And if the founder is having so much interference in the people, process, and culture matter, so much interference that it contradicts the scalability of the business, then of course something is wrong. So now, the first one is the process, the people rather. It is always important to hire right. And when you hire people, learn to maximize them. You see somebody and you say, oh, this person, you don't know if this person is going to be a good addition. You don't know if this person is going to be a plus to your team. But now this person that you are not sure is going to either be a plus to your team goes on to another company and they are doing so well. And you're wondering, why is it that when they were in your company, they were not doing a great job? It all boils down to how you manage and develop them. Because if you want your business to grow, if you want your business to scale, then you do not just have to hire right. You also have to be intentional about growing the people that manage your business, because the competence and the success of these people is directly proportional to the success of your business. Now, the other thing on the side is process. Build scalable system and workflow. You should be able to document. I tell this to even small business owners. You should be able to document what you do, such that even when you have a new employee, when you have a new staff, they can look through the documents and say, we do this by this time. This is the rules and instruction for getting this done. But if when it comes to getting the job done and the ideology, shall I say, the blueprint revolves around just you, then something is wrong. Like I said the other time, it means that on the day you are not available, the business crumbles. That means the business cannot stand the test of time. If you're about to have your first hire in your business, or you start up organization, NGO, one way to start is document everything, especially if you are the only staff now for your business. Document everything you do. Start writing out your workflow. You do this by so time, you do this by so time, and now make it a structure. By doing that, you know the things that you should not do. In fact, it helps you, it informs you on the staff that you need first. Because sometimes people feel like, oh, I need an accountant first, I need a secretary first. And by the time you are writing out your workflow, you're writing out your routines, you're able to discern or identify some of the things that you want to take off you, some of the things you want to delegate. And that's how to identify who you want to hire first, which is very important. Now to the other thing that is also very important is your work culture. Is your work culture. If you do not define what you want in your business, if you do not define your vision, your style, the things that you want to allow to fly in your business, the employees that are coming from different backgrounds will define it for you. So ask yourself, as a business owner, how is it that you want your employees to feel like when it comes to working with you every day? What are the things what are your non-negotiable? What are the things that you want to be imprinted in the way they teach people, in the way they attend to your clients, in the way they relate to each other, beyond the vision and mission statement that you're hanging on the wall? Because you can have core values written on the wall, say, oh, integrity, respect, and you have people or your employees in your company fighting tooth and nail every day. So culture is not a set of core value hanged on the wall, or your vision and mission statement on the wall of your company or your office or business. So it is something that you want to see reflect in the day-to-day activities. It's something that you want to embed in them daily. So it is very important that you imprint culture in your people. And now this is very important, right? Before you have your first hire, define your culture. And the reason why I'm saying this is because some employees are competent, but some employees are not culture fit. One of the things we used to screen as an HR professional, one of the things we used to assess or screen applicants is to see their competence, technical competence, their experience, academic background, and culture fitness. So it helps you, instead of having to bring in an employee that will give you headache, constantly trying to reorientate an adult, if you have your culture spelled out, if you have your culture labeled out already, it will actually help you to determine if the person fits into what you want to fly in your business, in your company. So it is very important that you define your culture early to know the kind of employees that you want to work with you. Who are the employees that would push this? Because sometimes you have a good and competent and intelligent employee, but the person is not a good team player, always constantly fighting. And sometimes it interests you to know that a top performer, a competent and the most intelligent staff can also be a toxic staff. And that's not the kind of company you want. You want somebody, you can train people. People can learn on the job. But it's always very difficult to reorientate and change the mindset and the culture of people. You have a manager that works in a company that is in his 40s. He has spent almost 40 years of his life building himself to who he is. And whereas we have a company that will adapt him, that will change him, that would not mind having that kind of manager. So why stress yourself to bring in somebody to want to change them? You are not Jesus Christ. So now, the people. When it comes to people, you have to get it right. For a small business, you cannot afford to not get this right. Because for a small business, a bad hire will cost you a lot. In fact, a bad hire can in turn affect your business revenue, your ROI, 70%, 80%. So imagine you have a retail business, fashion retail business, or a fashion retail business, and let's say ready to wear, and you have about 5 staff. Now, 5 staff, you have the operations manager, you have 2 production team, then you have your logistic officer, then you have your customer service / admin. So now imagine your customer service / admin officer and also your logistic officer do not know how to speak with people respectfully. What that will do is that it will water down the efforts of the production team, and the operations manager, instead of thinking of how to advance the operation of the business, will be trying to resolve logistic issue and customer issue every day. And once he's doing every other thing minus his job, he will not pay attention to the next phase of the business. And once you have that, it looks like the business is revolving in circles. Because you do not have the luxury, because once one person is not doing their job, it's obvious. So if the customer person, you just have one customer service officer in the company. So if that customer service officer is not doing his or her job, all your clients are displeased with your service, and there's no other person to serve as the backup. So when it comes to people, get it right. First thing first, hire smart. That's the first thing. You have to hire smart. There are some questions that we ask people in an interview that we intentionally ask, not because we want to know if they are smart or not, but we intentionally want to know how well they relate to people, their cultural fitness. If it's not the person that will abandon things, your problem-solving skills, how you adapt to an issue. So now, in problem-solving skills, let me give an instance. Now, you have an instance whereby your operations manager is maybe on sick leave, and as production team, you're supposed to take initiative. So would you rather have a team who will take the initiative, or you'd rather have a team who will wait for the operations manager to get to and come back? Now, when it comes to small business recruitment, you don't just do gut feeling. My friend's younger brother's girlfriend, sister cannot work. You don't have a large team. So it means that everyone must bring their A game. So you don't want to bring in people who do not want to work there in the first place. Then another important thing is that onboarding matter. So what I would say from experience is that most business owners keep onboarding because they feel onboarding is just important for big companies, right? And when it comes to onboarding, what you're simply doing for the person is you're letting the person know how it is done here. A customer service person at MTN office is not a customer service officer at, lost the word now, let me use, at Airtel. It's not a customer service person in the banking industry. It is not a customer service official at the embassy. They have a thin line. Yes, the scope is generic, but it's specific to the industry. So even if somebody is qualified or competent from wherever they're coming from, you still need to sit down with them that here at social company, these are the things that are allowed. These are the things, this is how we do it, because sometimes how you do what you do is more important than what you're doing. This is how we speak to our people, this is how we speak to our customers. And these are the things we expect from you. Do not mismanage expectation. If somebody should start delivering from day 10, let them know on time. So that at the end of the day, when you're expecting them to deliver, they are not laid back. Usually in HR, we do the 30, 60, 90 days. So the 90 days is your probation in the structured sector. 90 days is your probation. And gone are those days when employment is all about one person. So then in that 90 days, the employee, that's the person you hired, is trying to see if I can continue to work here. And also the business owner, the business is trying to see if this person will actually deliver results. But what I tell most people is that try to ensure that you made the best recruitment decision so that you do not have to wait 90 days to see if this person is going to do well or not. The other thing is micro development. Even the most intelligent person, even a genius still needs to constantly bring himself or herself up to speed. So if there's something that you see that is lacking in your team, create a learning about it. Have a session about it. It could be a virtual meeting. It could be an in-person meeting. It could be an external facilitator coming in to address this thing. Because whatever you don't train your team about, you don't just expect it from them. So because you hire somebody and the person, let's say the competence level of the person was 70, and you hire the person in 2023. The person has not gone for training, the person has not gone for any certification or academic, progression, maybe masters or an MBA. And you expect that the person will keep delivering in a fast changing environment where you have competitors. And it will shock you to know that your competitors are constantly sending their team out for training. So do not joke with development. In fact, what I like to do is that every quarter, as an HR, every quarter, there's something we do. We call it skill gap and training need analysis. So look, what are the things, skills that you expect in your team that are not there? List them out. Then have a TNA document. This is the skill gap. This is training that applies to it. And this, at the end of the training, this is the improvement you want to see. So skill gap analysis is the skill that you expect in a manager versus the skill that your manager currently have. Maybe you expect about 5 to 8 skills, let's say 6 to 8 bracket skills, and your current manager has 4. It means there's a skill gap. So list out those skills that your manager do not have currently, and now set a training and set a timeline. Now, the other thing when it comes to performance now, managing performance is set clear goals. So and one thing about SME and startup is that sometimes everybody's doing everybody's job and it's chaotic. Some people don't even know. So I recently had a client, I was asking one of the team members, I think, yeah, the accountant, that, oh, what's your job scope? He does not even understand his job scope. So tell me how the business in itself will not be chaotic when you don't understand your job scope. One thing I like to do is that whenever I'm trying to send offer letter to anybody, after your provision period is this, the next document attached to that is your KPI. So you know what is expected of you. We sit down, upon your resumption date, we sit down to align, these are the things that we expect from you from day one. And you don't wait till like 6 months or 1 year to say you've not done well. No, you don't have that luxury as a small business owner. Now, process. Most small companies, most small businesses or startup miss out on this. They do not see the need to have a workflow. They do not see the need to document their day-to-day activities. And when you're able to document and put a structure to your day-to-day activities, believe me, you are setting a system and structure that can stand the test of time. You can easily your business can be having issue, and you can look at the process or your documented day-to-day activities and say, okay, if you stop doing this thing this way, it will affect this growth and it will help us to do 1 or 2 things better. So process is the backbone of your growth. And of course, when it comes to business, your business is as fine-tuned as your process is. And your process is as fine-tuned as the way you've allowed your people or the way they know how to do it. Now that's competence on the other hand. So process is a very important thing when it comes to business. It does not need to be bureaucratic. What it does for you is that it prevents confusion, it reduces duplicated efforts, and give people concise to-do lists. So if you can look at the screen now, this is procurement process. I don't know whoever has a business in logistics here or delivery. This is like a template now. Identify the requirement specifics, sourcing, price and terms are negotiated and finalized, purchase order. So you should have a circle. So it means that if you skip process 1 to jump to process 3, and jump to process 3, something will be wrong. But you might be doing that every day and not note it until you are able to actually document it. Yeah, so this is another process flow chart for a production company. So I'll go straight to, just a minute. So another thing that is very important when it comes to process is that you need to define who does what and how. So it's not enough that you define what people do. It's also very important that you define how they do it so that you don't do it wrongly. They might be doing it, but they might be doing it, yes, but they are doing it wrongly. Document your workflow, even if it's on a simple Google Doc or Trello. And once you do that, before you know it, you're standardizing how things are being done. You're standardizing your meeting, you're standardizing your reports. And if you document your process, or your tasks, you realize that some things are repetitive, some things actually do not need, some things are waste of time, or some things are actually not productive. But you can only do that if you try to formalize your processes. So the next thing that I'd like to talk about for the brief bit of time is culture. You can't, this is very important, you can't audit beyond whatever you document on paper that is allowed or not allowed. It's invisible and it's an advantage and can be a disadvantage depending on how it is well managed. So culture is not just free lunch or free breakfasts in the organization. It's about how people treat each other, how decisions are being made, and what behaviors get rewarded or ignored. I will use punctuality for instance. If an employee keeps coming late to work and you do not flag it, what it's going to do to the entire team is that it means that on days, because some people are not self-disciplined and people like to follow the crowd, on days that I come late, it's fine, or I can choose to come late. So when it comes to culture, it's important to reward what needs to be rewarded. And it's important to flag out or nullify behaviors that need to be, nullified. And you do that as early as possible. If somebody has just fought an employee in the office and the entire organization saw that HR did not do anything about it, CEO did not do anything about it, or the business owner did not do anything about it, before you know it, that particular character, that particular culture begins to spread. And it's like a wildfire. And one thing about this wildfire is you don't see the flame until the entire house is down. So yes, define your values early. Now I was saying this, it's very important that you know what works for you early. It helps you to know the kind of staff you should have. Leadership drives culture. I used to tell my team back in the office that everything rises and falls on the shoulder of leadership. The business owner does not have time to speak with the entire team one-on-one. The business owner can speak with the core team, disseminate the information, communicate the expectation, and expect that the core team who are supposed to be the leaders replicate that. Another thing is that if you as the business owner do not replicate what you're saying, whatever you're saying is as good as noiseless on arrival. Another thing is psychological safety. If you want a good culture in your company, make sure you have an open door policy. And when I mean open door policy, please let the open door policy be open door indeed. Take feedback. It's very important. And recognize not just outcomes, but also behaviors that are like. So in my current company, there's an initiative that I started, and we call it Culture Champion. So some of our core values are integrity, respect, Kaizen. So we have people that empathy, yes, because of the kind of business we do. We have people that say, oh, so person resolve so thing for me in a short time. We reward them, cash, gifts, medals. So we have culture champions. I call them culture champion of the week, culture champion of the month. What's culture? Empathy. What's culture? Customer centricity. So now, if you're an HR here, or you have a small business and you feel like you do not need an HR now, or you don't have an HR now, regardless, these are the basic structures, without suffocating, that you should have. So I want you to think of them as your minimum viable HR toolkits. Yes. Your job description. You cannot employ somebody fully and not give them job description. And contracts. You resume by 8 a.m., you close by 5 p.m. This is when you collect your salaries, how much you're collecting. There's bonus, there's no bonus. HMO is applied, HMO is not applied. Leave policy and everything. And what it does is that everybody is clear. You can see I used to tell people that every document an HR creates can be used in labor courts. So make it clear, and you can trace it back for accountability. You should have an onboarding checklist, a performance framework. That's OKR, objective and key results. or KPIs, key performance indicator. So a key performance indicator are the metrics you use to measure somebody's performance. So let's say a customer service personnel call 50 customers daily. So if I look at your logbook and I realize that you only called 40, something is wrong. But if I've not been able to pull down the standards that I expect from that role, I'll not be able to gauge when the person is doing well or not. Then employee handbook. Employee handbook is not, so I see so many company employee handbook and it's unreasonable. It's just verbose. It should be your policy, your basic things, and straight to the values. Another important thing is your feedback loop. You cannot run a business on sprints for a year without having constant feedbacks or checking on your team. So you can have a rhythm of weekly, what your team is doing weekly, assess monthly performance, then quarterly, review the business quarterly. In what areas do we need to improve on? Send surveys to your customers. The surveys will now help you to know, okay, who needs to improve on what process needs to be improved on. And sometimes it's even helps you to know, okay, the only way to imprint this is to create a policy around so and so thing. Now for entrepreneurs, I know most people think HR is an afterthought or HR has to be in a company whereby the staff are about 30. But what I will tell you is do not delay HR until you are big. Start from your first hire. You might not have an in-house HR person here, but you can have HR do your fractional things for you. So when I say HR do your fractional things for you, maybe recruitment, assessing performance, in case there's a disciplinary issue, yes, like more like a consultant. Because each hire shapes the culture and sets the standard. If you keep bringing in a set of people that are very unruly, people that do not appreciate your customers, what you are doing is that you are setting that as a standard. So whoever you bring into your company determines what you want your company to look like. You don't bring the person to your company to now want to rewrite or change the rotation of the person to what you want. Then, you see this third point? Something I tell business owners, but there's a way you create something from scratch to finish and you jealously guide it. I get it, but it cannot grow in your hands that way. Know when to hand over. And as you grow in your business, you cannot do everything, you have to hand over. So you're supposed to create a system that grows beyond you. A system you can hand over. Your customers should not just know your personal line. Your customers should know your official line. So that on the days that you are not available, the business is not crumbling. Then another thing when it comes to people, process, and culture is that what I like to do is that I like to be logical when it comes to employee management or people management. So think ROI. What a bad hire will cost you is that you bring in somebody in the first month who is a bad hire. The person is not so competent and the person is not culture fit. Then the person works with you for 3 months and you realize, oh, you can't continue with this employee. Before you know it, you now have to go back and start recruitment process. And what that has done for you is that productivity has been affected because person was not competent, was not culture fit. You might have to now take 30% of somebody's time to, you are taking 20 to 30% of somebody's time, join whatever the person is doing because person is not doing it well. And sometimes you now have to start the recruitment efforts all over again. See, there are some companies that it looks like every 6 months they are looking for somebody. That's because they've not even defined their culture to know what they want. Hiring mistakes cost 3 to 4x the salary. It's not about the amount you want to pay them, the person. It's about getting the right person, getting a good hire from the scratch. So what I would say for anyone that is on the call here as an HR professional is that when you are as an HR professional, you are not just doing administrative things, you're a business partner. You should be able to tell a business owner that if you hire this person, is also competent, this person will be able to do. Because if currently in your team, your customer service team, or let's say in your team, you have 5 people. Now you see that everybody's overworked, if the workload is too much. Now you want to increase the staff strength to 10. It means that you now have more effort, then it should reflect in your revenue. So HRs are business partners. They are not just there to do administrative tasks. If I'm to bring in 5 more people to a team, it means that if those 5 people were able to achieve 10 things, now bringing 5 more people to a team, they should be able to achieve 20. But if I keep adding more people and it's still the same thing, then something is wrong. Then you should be able to track your retention rates, turnover. So employee turnover, how often do employees leave your organization? How many years your older staff is how many years? If your older staff is 6 months, it means that there's something in your company that is not keeping people, even if they are good and they are qualified. So if you keep people resigning, something is wrong as well. And one thing about resignation is that if you employ somebody at 50,000 naira, for instance, today in January, the person resigns by June. By the time you're going to employ another person, you're going to employ somebody that you might have to pay times 2 of the person's salary, and you're starting from scratch. And that is taking a part of your time. Then build trust with leaders. I know sometimes it's difficult for people to hand over their business to you, but you have to build trust and speak the business language. So I used the ROI language. Another thing I would say as an HR is that always anticipate future. So one thing I like to do for some of my clients is that when they say, oh, I cannot accommodate 5 staff, I cannot accommodate 10 staff, what I do is I can do a forecast of employee expenses. So by employee expenses, I mean the salary of, if you currently have a 5-man team, I do their salary and I forecast it for the next 1 year. And I do the salary of 10 team, like in case they increase by 2, by 2x. That's in case they increase from 5 to 10. I do their salary forecast and show you. And in between I put bonuses, maybe monthly, quarterly, to show you that okay, if you are to continue this way, this is how much you're going to so thing is going to cost when it comes to people management. So if this is going to cost so thing when it comes to people management, your revenue should be able to give you this. But if your revenue is slim with your people management expenses, then something is wrong. So you should be able to anticipate future challenge. Somebody's asking that I want to work remotely all of a sudden. One of your employees just japa. Now it's even japa season and we are going through a lot. But somebody's not complying with a policy. All of a sudden, your business is to do 100 production, and now your business is doing 2,000 production. Of course, you're scaling. That's a good challenge, by the way. So these are the things that we should take note of as HR professionals. In conclusion, what I would say is when it comes to the matter of the people and the business, businesses do not scale people. It is the people that scale businesses. So do you have the right people in your team? Do you hire the right people? And does these people, do they know the right process for your business? And the people you have in your team, are they culture fits? So it's a different thing to have people who are competent and not culture fit. It's a different thing, it's another thing to have people who are competent and refuse to comply with the rules and guidelines and the process of the business. So if your business is going to scale in the next 5 to 10 years, you will see it in your people. You will see their competence, their growth level, their compliance to process, their character, their cultural fitness. So if you are looking at your team now, and you're looking at where you want your business to go to in the next 5 years, or in fact, in the next 1 year, and you do not see a similarity or the gap between where your team are and the vision you have for your business in the next 1 year is wide, then something is wrong. Because business in itself does not scale. There's people that scale businesses. So yes, thank you for having me. I do hope that for every entrepreneur who's on the call today, who's in this session today, I've been able to, shed more light as to why you need to connect this.
Thank you so much, Tomiwa. This was, wow, a full session coming from Margaret's session to your session. I mean, wow, so much to learn, so much to take away, so much to note, so much to run with, and so much to start execution with. Thank you for the practicality. Thank you for the stepwise directions and insights that you provided. I want to see our comments right now. I want to see as many comments, and I want us to celebrate with me the amazing women who have taken their time to really share tonight. Thank you so much once again, Tomiwa, for that insightful session. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Margaret Ogbolu, for sharing with us the will to win. So many things to take away. It doesn't have to end here. If you love to join the Empower Her community, the link to join the community is pinned and has been pinned all through the session. So please make sure you are a part of us. I gave us a sneak bit into what we are building, we're planning for next year. Beyond being a community where you can access global opportunities or access resources like this, be the first to know, right? When we have webinars coming up like this, next month's webinar. So we took a poll in the community, and I have heard us, right? For everyone in that community who participated in that, our next month's webinar is something on brand positioning, and you don't want to miss that. You can have beautiful structures, have amazing systems in place. One other thing that you must not lose sight of is your brand positioning, and we're going to be looking at that in our next edition of the Empower Her series, and I cannot afford for you to miss that. So join the community today. Be the first to know. Share with your sister, your friend, your loved ones, and if you are a man watching this, share with the women in your life that you want to see succeed. Thank you for spending your Sunday evening with us, and if you happen to be watching this at any time zone, thank you for taking out time to learn. It shows your commitment to growth, and we want to see you grow. We want to see you shine. We want to see you win. Hey, the session will be live here. Make sure you can always come back and reference it. For as many of us who registered, you get a feedback form. Please fill it. We'd love to get feedback so we can know how best to serve you and to keep serving you in the most exceptional way possible. Thank you for being a part of this month's edition of the webinar. Next month will be just as insightful, and I need you to be a part of it. So don't forget to join the community. Till I'm going to be sharing with us again in the next session, in the next edition. Thank you so much. Goodbye.